Welcome back to Sins of the Knights tournament, the Lord of the Noobs tournament. This is the last game, or the last set of the preliminary games, and it looks like we have Ben, one of the hosts of the tournament, facing up against Linkn. And the civs are, well, why don't you introduce the civs? We have myself, Fade, Maelstrom, aka Recoil, casting, as well as Mobius. Mobius, introduce us to the civilizations here.
Sounds good. Thank you, Fade. So today we've got the last the last set of the first round games between Linkn and Ben. We sitting in the north part of the map. In the blue, we have Linkn playing as the Franks, and they are very dynamic, strong civ. We'll see what he does with the Franks. And in the bottom of the map, we have Ben playing in the gray Burgundians. And we'll kind of see what happens here in this game. So Burgundians versus Franks, two pretty well solid civs. They're very similar. They have a lot of strengths with their cavalry. And as I had mentioned in the previous series that I've casted, cavalry on Arena tends not to get a ton of value unless it's used in a certain situation. So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how these two players decide to handle their cavalry civs going forward in
Now,
this
I
matchup.
have a question for you, Mobius. I have a brother that works for Linkn, but I'm not sure that's how you pronounce this player's name. Do we know definitively how to pronounce his name? I mean,
I'm just going to go with how I can pronounce it, and if he corrects me or someone else corrects me, I will use that correction going forward.
Okay, cool. And we know Linkn as a very good-natured player here, facing up against Ben, our soft-spoken but sarcastic host here. What do we think of the build orders here? It looks like build count is even still, and 4 on wood for Ben.
I'm just watching Linkn right now. He's pushing gear in right now. He's getting that first boar coming into the town center at this point in time. Both players are on 11 villagers. Both players are on 12 pop. Kind of just a standard arena start. So it'll be more kind of deciding the civ starts here. And we'll kind of see what happens here. Don't lose that vill. Okay, cool. That was a close one. Linkn almost lost that first vill. We see the first boar coming for Ben as well on the bottom part of the map. And
I noticed Linkn prioritized the deer first rather than scouting. Ben is scouting first. So he did go for his boar, so he's not ignoring hunt. But it looks like Linkn is going for a slightly more efficient Dark Age build order. Maybe he clicks up faster, do you think?
So I think the advantage of going with your deer first and pushing the deer in with your scout is that allows your scout to go out in the middle part of the game and spot any forward villagers or anything along those lines. I think for scouting purposes, the value of pushing the deer in, ooh, this is a bad boar lure I do not like that second boar lure.
Oh, he did it, but I mean, those straggler trees are not in a great position.
No, they are not. No, they are not. So as I was saying before that second blue lure cut me off, the advantage of pushing your deer in first and then sending your scout out is there's not a lot of activity that's going to happen in the first couple minutes of the game, apart from you pushing the deer in. You can afford on Arena with having the secured walls to give up that early, first couple minutes of scouting in order to turn around and get the deer pushed in right away, and then use the scout to explore and look for any villagers that are getting out early or any forward aggression or scouts or what have you from your opponent. Versus scouting early, figuring all that stuff out, and then having to go back in mid-Dark Age to push your gear in for your fast castle build. I think I like the approach of Linkn better. Yeah, I think I like the approach of Linkn better in that regard as the more I've watched these games. So
if you check out the Fog of War of Linkn, you'll see he has scouted long ways away. I don't think he's quite found Ben. He's about to find him soon. Ben, on the other hand, even though he went to scout first, his scout is just sitting there doing nothing at the moment and didn't actually scout very much. So Linkn with a cleaner build order, going on berries, which we know the Franks get that berry bonus. Slightly cleaner build order in terms of efficiency for Linkn. And it looks like, is Ben already clicked up or Linkn clicked up? Linkn has.
That is Linkn that's clicked up at 21 pop. And Ben's getting the Burgundian bonuses here. I see horse collar coming in right now for HMD. That's the big benefit of being the Burgundians is you get those eco upgrades of the H earlier. So it makes a lot of sense for them to get double bid axe and horse collar here before clicking off.
But it's interesting. Ben has only 21 villagers, and he is.
Is he idle?
Either he's
idling his TC right now. I am seeing the idle TC timer kick up.
Yep.
Okay, now he's making more villagers. 22 vills now. So Lincoln is going to be up in feudal here in about 40 seconds here. 21 vills, maybe scout play I would expect to see out of him. I just don't see him dropping a barracks right now to be able to build a stable right away, though. So I'm very curious to see what he does here.
Yeah, So I think Lincoln had the cleaner build order to start. There was a little bit of idle time early on. Ben had a 1 vill lead for a short period of time, but it looks like either Ben got wheelbarrow and lost 3 villagers there, or
Ben does not have wheelbarrow at this point in time. I can tell on capture age. The wheelbarrow icon is grayed out.
Okay, well, so some idle time. It looked like his scout was idle. Maybe he was AFK for a moment.
Interesting. So Lincoln's getting double bid axe now. You don't normally do that for a fast castle build. I see a blacksmith down in a market and double bid axe. Usually you want to save that food until after you have enough food to click up to feudal age or castle age, and then you start getting double bid axe and horse collar and those other important economy upgrades in the feudal age.
And if you move back over to Lincoln's base, he actually forgot 1 sheep for a while.
And Lincoln's using the market to click up. He sold 100 stone. He sold both of his stones, so he should have almost enough resources to click up here after selling the stone. Interesting choice to do that. Usually you want to save that stone for town centers if you're going for a boom. I think that tells you it's going to be a more progressive game. And there we go. Lincoln's up to castle, 2 minutes, 33 seconds away from that.
It's interesting. When he clicked up, he had almost...
And now he's mining the stone. Interesting. Interesting. Maybe castle. Yeah, this is going to be a castle drop. He's sending all of his villagers to stone right now. That's way too many for it. But because he sold all that extra stone to click up, now he needs to mine it to be able to get the 650 he needs for a castle drop.
Well, now that we're looking at a castle drop, let's look a little bit at the layout of each base. If we look at Ben's base, he has one of the worst forms of generations you can get on Arena.
But I think I like Ben's order a little bit better. You're right. Like his forward gold is there, his stone's forward. That's easily susceptible to a castle drop here. But the thing that I like about Ben is he's dropping his stable right now to be able to get knights, to get scouts out. Having the scouts out early is really effective in denying these castle drops. So I'm going to be very curious to see here, and we see Link coming forward here with 6 vills for that castle drop. He's 46 seconds away from that. He has nowhere near enough stone, so he's going to have to keep selling resources and abusing the market to be able to turn around and get this pressure to go.
Well, if we look at the front of Ben's base, Lincoln was running back and forth for a while with his scout in front of the gate, which is an obvious castle drop sign. I think Ben is now over at Lincoln's base, waiting to see those villagers come out. I think as soon as Castle Age hits, Ben knows what's coming. In fact, the villagers are already out.
Ben does see. Yep. Ben does see. Like the problem is, Blink doesn't have enough. He's still 300 stones short. Like I don't know what you're doing here. He doesn't have loom. He's getting loom right now. He's still 200 stones short. 250 stones short of a castle.
It's Frank Castle, so they are cheaper.
That is right. Thank you for correcting me on that. 488, I believe, is the cost for a Frank Castle. You should almost be there. Just a little bit more.
Well, let me ask you a math question here. How much does how many villagers does Lincoln have on gold and wood and food?
Lincoln only has 0 on gold, 1 on food, 3 on wood. The rest of them are on stone, and then apart from the 6 that are building that forward castle. Now I like the scout play denying this castle. It's just going to make it that much harder. He needs more denial here, and you will see HMD reacting with pulling 11 villagers off. Are we going to see a defensive tower here, or is he just going to bum rush with villagers? If Lincoln can quickly do a wall off here, it's going to get really, really messy here in the next few minutes. That scout alone is not going to be enough to deny that castle. Link, and I think, and Link's doing that wall off there. That castle will go up with that wall up there.
But what does Lincoln do at this point? He still only has 1 on food. He can't make military. So what is he doing? He's denying the limited space that he has taking up from Castle Arrowfire. He barely has enough wood for a mining camp to mine that forward gold. And he's lost a couple villagers here. I think
he got a couple villagers back from Ben. So Eco KD is 3 for Link and 1 loss. He's lost 1 villager. He's killed 3 of Ben's.
Yep, Ben is
Now make
going
that 6
for...
to 2. Make that 3 to 1 still. 6 to 2.
Ben's got the siege
You got
workshop.
that scout hitting there.
I think we're going to see a double castle drop because he still has an immense amount of villagers on stone.
This is just all in aggression. This is all this is.
Again, considering the fact that most of Ben's villagers, most of Ben's resources are in a bad position, one more castle denies most of his resources. He does have his main gold safe in the back, and the problem is, since Lincoln has very little eco, he has no map control.
I would agree with you there. So Lincoln is through. I see Cavalier coming in right now for the Burgundian player that's almost done. I would expect to see a couple Cavalier pop out with the food and the resources that HMD has, and a couple Cavaliers should be enough to push those villagers back. Yep, just fall off your sides and you'll stabilize and you'll be good to go.
I'm not sure what the point of Cavalier is, because it doesn't give you map control any more than Light Cav or Scouts would.
Right, I would rather see the resources being invested into actual knights themselves, because I don't think you need Cavalier to fight villagers. I would agree with you there.
And all Lincoln needs, even with a shoestring eco here, is a couple monks, and he has Cavalier in his pocket all of a sudden. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's going to help us push. Ben has had 4 villagers idle for a long time, just in front of the siege workshop there.
Second castle going down now.
And Ben has,
and there goes the first Cavalier.
4 villagers right there. And he notices the villagers, moves them out of the way. At least he won't lose those villagers to the castle going up.
I see a second TC coming up in the back, so we're going to have that classic boom versus push. I think a Mega L would be way better in the situation. Oh, I see a Scorpion pop out.
So
it's not going to have the range.
It's interesting to note. Do you think Ben's obviously has better eco upgrades, but does he have loot?
Yes, he does. No, he does not. He does not have loom on his villagers. 25 HP. And throwing Axeman coming out here now for the Frank player. There is a hole in there in between the stone and the market. I think Ben's not going to be able to wall it off because that castle's going to overshoot that.
Yep. Fun fact about Ben.
Messy game.
Fun fact about Ben is that he does not like the cube mod, the small trees mod. He goes for the traditional tree mod and resource mod, which means he is very
plays the game vanilla. He likes to play vanilla.
But it means that you end up having holes. You have holes that could have been avoided if you were a little bit more competitive. Lincoln still 1 TC, but I do like the fact that he's got
now he's got farms, he's got the economy that's starting to roll there. We see 32 villagers there versus 36. But HMD still has the villager lead by 4, but he's got a lot of idle economy here just because of the forward aggression in his face. And he does not have access to stone, which means no castles, which means no trying to get up to Imperial Age and getting Trebs out. So how do you handle this in this situation? You're going to want to get chemistry and bombards, or you're going to ram rush. One of the two.
Yep, gunpowder is the way to go. I mean, we know Burgundians get 25% extra damage from their gunpowder units. So bombard cannons and hand cannoneers counter the throwing axemen and the castles. He will have to build another siege workshop, and he will need a lot of wood because he's also going to.
I really don't like that university placement. Those villagers are right in the line of that second castle.
Okay,
barely within range.
You're about 5 seconds ahead of me, so I just see the university.
You see the foundation.
But yeah, you're right. I wonder if Ben doesn't even use range mod, for example, because those villagers are within range. Oh, and here's the monk.
Conversion? Nope, no conversion.
But saves the villager, probably will heal her. Nope, leaves her wounded and bleeding to finish up her job. Okay, now he's healing her. So,
what I like from Ben here, he was able to get 9 villagers out of his base. Now he's taking gold outside of the base between himself and Link. Yeah, sorry. Stone, thank you for correcting me. Which means that he will try to get enough. He should have enough stone there for a castle. It's 350 per stone pile. That should be 700 stone. That'll be enough to get a castle up here in defense. So maybe we will see Trebs out here.
Well,
I don't like walling in your villager like that, Ben.
Nobody's going for relics at this point. I think Does Ben have the wood? No, Ben doesn't have the wood. But I would like to see him get monastery up, get some of those relics.
Neither does Link. Link does not have any villagers on wood. For some reason.
Oh, yeah. He's all in on gold. I think he needs imp. He wants imp.
Yeah, he wants imp. And the Franks can kind of get away with that because they get the free farm upgrades, which is the main use of your wood in Castle Age, because you're trying to get the economy rolling here. And just looking at how massive that economy is, I would like to see some more mills be placed down around your bases so you can get those farmers to be a little bit more efficient.
If I can interrupt you for a second, do you see the body right near the university? The gray villager that's just disappearing?
Yes. Yep.
There was a villager in that gap for quite a while. The monk was healing it. Castle was attacking it. That poor villager locked herself in with houses and gave herself up for the cause. I think she is a heroine, and she will be
unsung heroine. Actually, we do see monks coming out here for, as you said, with Ben. I see the first relic coming in here now for HMD on the right-hand side of your screen as it comes underneath that gate there. 4 relics are still out for contesting. Link's castle is next to 2 of them, so it's going to be tricky to turn around and try to get those. But
yeah, but they're outside of range.
Yep. They're outside of range, it's just in an awkward spot.
Ben has a cavalier over on the left side, so he has the potential to scout and know what's going on the rest of the map. Ben, despite being double castle dropped, has, I think, better map awareness right now than Linkn does.
Yeah, do you know what Lincoln's going to have here in about 2 minutes?
Imperial Age.
Advantage, Imperial Age. So I would expect to see Trebs out here and kind of coming forward here and dealing damage. Ben is up to 3 TC versus 1 TC. Scores are about even now. Once those trebuchets come in, it's going to be very hard for Ben to answer that without getting up to Imperial here and trying to get some pressure going here. So
Lincoln still only has 41 villagers.
Yep, and Ben's forced to rebuild his market because his first market got destroyed by the 2 castles.
But he only has 41 villagers. You can barely go a couple trebs.
Are we going to get a conversion here? Nope, no conversion.
Yeah, a couple good conversions, and he can't really do much with trebs. He can take out the 1 TC, potentially the 2nd TC, 3rd TC behind the defensive walls will be safe. Ben going for wood outside the base, having completely mined all of the stone.
I see Cavalier upgrades coming in, or sorry, Scale Bearing Armor. I see Cav upgrades coming in for Linkn. Linkn is about almost up to Imperial. Ben is still a long way from getting up to Imperial. He does not have, he's still 800 food, or sorry, 400 food short and probably 1,100 gold short of clicking up. And so we're going to have a pretty significant amount of time. Do we see Trev start to be created here? Now that we're up to Imperial, defensive castle going down here in defense.
What I really don't like is that castle is used up all the stone. Ben mined all the stone that he had.
But that was why Ben needed to get that stone, is to get that defensive castle to help stabilize here. If he can hold on for another 5 minutes or so to get him the time that he needs to get up to Imperial Age, he should have the economy of village. He's got a pretty big villager lead, 66 villagers to 42. So he's going to have the eco to get there. He just needs to survive here the next 5-10 minutes to be able to get up to Imperial Age and then mass the army that he needs to handle this aggression right now. Because Linkn has not made that transition away from one town. Okay, now he's putting down a 2nd town center now, and there we go. We have to click up to Imperial Age here, 3 minutes away from HMD, clicking up to Imperial Age. So Treb's coming out now. I see the first Treb outside the first castle, or the initial castle drop.
I see some knights, and now Ben does have the option of going Redemption and converting trebuchets if they get out of range of those castles.
Yes, but to convert trebuchets, you have to be right adjacent to them, and those trebuchets are underneath castles. You're not sending amongst the deaths trying to convert a 1 trebuchet.
But at the very least, he's not going to be able to go very far if Ben does get Redemption. I think, I mean, the Vil count is significant advantage.
Ben's not going to be able to repair that castle. He doesn't have any stone, does he?
Nope. He has 80 stone. Yeah, about 80 stone. And he is just going
Ben is buying stone right now. He is buying stone in the market, and that's going to be how he's going to have to repair that castle.
Yeah, and you can easily out-repair 1 trebuchet. All you need is 3 or 4 villagers repairing, and you'll be okay.
How about 6? Should be plenty then, right? 7, actually.
But I like what you were saying before. I like what you were saying before about chemistry. I think repair the castle, keep your eco from being destroyed, but prepare a siege workshop. You already have the university, and he's going for a TC outside of the base. I guess he probably bought
He needs to expand somewhere in case he loses this main forward here. That castle's down now.
He's actually getting masonry, so that castle has more HP and more armor than the normal castle would. It'll take longer for
Castle's already down.
With only 2 trebuchets.
Castle's down. He's got. So this is the point for Linkn to do damage here. Second CC down. He's still behind villagers, 75 to 57. He needs to go in and do damage here.
Right in the middle of the map. Ben has a trail of villagers running through the middle. Where do you think he's headed? Is he?
Put another castle down there to get more stone and gold. But he doesn't have the stone. He needs to buy more stone.
Remember that Cavalier we mentioned earlier that was over on the left side? That Cavalier
I see it.
Given him sort of a vision of safe haven over in the west. It's almost like he's fleeing some sort of war-torn country and fleeing to the west. He's camping out near the stone.
Market.
Right.
Ben is being is being forced to rebuild for the 3rd time this game a market to be able to get the resources that he needs to stabilize here. And now we have the aggression coming in here. We've got Cavalier coming in here. We've got pikemen coming in here from Linkn. This will be a big fight. A couple conversions here. That was pikemen should go away. And got the numbers right now for Ben. 2 plus 1 attack, plus 1 armor. Bloodlines, Burgundians do not get bloodlines. They've got the technologies they need. Do I see Paladin coming in here? Does not have the resources for Paladin yet, even with the Burgundian bonus.
And honestly, Paladin, when your opponent makes it to imp faster than you and they're the Franks, I really don't like Burgundian Paladin at all. I think you need to go with your strengths rather than playing into their strengths.
So the thing with Paladin here, and I think the reason why it's kind of an okay play to do that as Burgundians, you get it for half off. It's a cheaper tech for you, and you know in a 1v1, your opponent's not necessarily going to make that transition because of how many resources are required to go into Paladin. So if you're already in if you're in a behind position, I can see you going for Paladin, and then you're going to have the better knight versus the Cavalier because your opponent's not going to go for it.
Let's take a look at that, because Burgundians were recently nerfed from 50% minus upgrades to 33%. I wonder if I think that might only apply to eco. Stable technologies...
No, they get it for their stable technologies too, right?
Yeah, those stable technologies are still 50%, so you are right.
Right. So it may make sense just to get that buff so you can turn around and do that. You do have Cavalier over Linkn. Light Cavalry coming in for Linkn. That, interesting choice there. Yep. I like the idea of possibly raiding as much as you can. And this is going to be a really messy game here.
Ben getting the relics. Now, Burgundians are one of those unique civs that actually gets more than 1 resource from relics. They get food and gold from relic triggers. So, if he can secure those 3 relics on the north of the base, maybe even the 4th, he actually will have, you know, a decent...
We've got a raid coming in here on the right-hand side of the map. We've got about 10 Cavalier raiding underneath there. That's going to idle some economy there for Ben.
Linkn has finally found
I don't think that's going to be enough to take down that town center. He has to retreat. Once he gets more numbers, he should be able to harass and take down that town center there. Linkn with a solid 1,000-point score advantage here kind of indicates what way this game is going right now.
I think the danger is that Linkn is making gold units that can be converted, and so that's what's preventing him from pushing that base in the south, where Ben, despite having 2 castles on the front of his base, has been mining his main gold the entire game. I think another castle there or some light cav could really help to deal with those monks as the monks actually head over to help deal with the Cavalier or the Knight Raid. This would be the time to push, and Linkn is not pushing at the right time, probably because he's focusing over on the right. Meanwhile, Ben, he's putting down a bevy of houses.
He's doing the damage. He needs to do some conversions coming. Oh, those monks! Those monks should get some conversions here.
And that's what he was afraid of, which is why you need something like Light Cav, maybe some archers, something to take out those monks, and, you know, Ben doesn't have much after that. We do see Light Cav actually starting to be produced by Linkn. They're a limited number, but he does have the tech, and he is producing some.
Cavalier also coming in from Linkn, +1 attack is coming in as well. Those knights from Linkn, they have full armor upgrades. They're just missing the attack upgrades, which is what you want to do with your knights or your melee units. Focus the defensive upgrades. Okay, we see a trebuchet dive here. That first trebuchet is going to go down. Does Ben micro try to get the second trebuchet? No, he retreats. So at least one of those 4 trebuchets is down. That's a big gold investment here.
Look up in the north. I think this is where the game's going to be decided, because Ben has run away from his base, and Lincoln is mining gold over on the left, within, not quite within vision of Ben's main base, because Ben has basically completely relocated. He's gotten 2 relics so far. I wonder if he'll notice when the 3rd relic disappears from his line of sight, and wonder if something's over there on the left. I would like to see Lincoln with some light cav, or maybe some outposts, getting some better vision. He already knows Ben snuck over to the right. I'd like him to think about going to the left. A lot of conversions coming in. And there's the Cavalier upgrade. Yep, those villagers over on the left just mining gold, minding their own business. Ben with 2 relics over there, getting the 3rd relic. That's the one that I wonder if Lincoln will notice when it disappears, because that was within his line of sight. But I think he's focusing on these relics, these monks down south.
I would agree with that. So we see a fight in front of the rest of the base there. There's still 3 TCs out here for Ben. The villager advantage has normalized. It is 93 vills for HMD versus 88 for Linkn00. We have about equal economies here. It's not going to be a question of what units that you make here.
Yeah, but who has more relics at this point?
Ben only has 1 relic right now. I only see 1 relic in the monastery.
Ben has 3 relics over on the left. That means he's got 4.
Ah! I missed that monastery. Thank you for pointing that out.
So, I think with the conversions and the equal vill difference and the relics, I wonder if Ben actually, despite having to relocate twice, has a stronger economy at this point.
He does. Now he just needs to make something to counter these pesky halbs that have come out from Linkn00. +1 attack. He does not have his armor upgrades on those paladins. We have chemistry. We see Halberdier coming in here as well from Linkn00. She's making Halberdier on the left-hand side of the map.
Yep. Which I think Lincoln will fairly soon clear up the south of the map. Maybe reclaim that relic if those monks are not working god tier. But he's just got this tunnel vision and he doesn't notice. Ben has most of the rest of the map locked down. He's got stables and barracks on the right, a TC, several monks. Over on the left, he's got all the monks making wood. We've got several TCs coming down on the left. I think Ben knows that he's on a timer and he's going to lose his eco down south eventually. Who do we like more late game? Franks or Burgundians?
I think they're pretty even on late game, honestly. They've got similar techs. They both get access to gunpowder. I think I like I just think I like the Burgundians a bit more just because they're the newer civ. Franks are kind of been power crept a little bit with the unique technologies there. But the big difference here is there's not enough stone out there for a castle for HMD. Like, so I don't think he's gotten his unique tech to be able to get that gold income. I don't think he's gotten the techs that he needs here to turn around and stabilize here. It's pretty even here. And as long as Linkn00 has both of those castles on those primary and secondary gold and stone mines there for HMD, that may determine how this game goes.
Yeah, I think maybe that's something Lincoln is not doing well at this point. I really like the fact that he went for a second TC once he hit Imperial Age. Add some eco,
got a third one here. And
but
the ecos are about normal, honestly.
He has not done a great job of locking down the resources throughout the map. Although I guess he did try in the north, and his villagers all got picked off by Cavalier. So maybe he's just focusing on his own positions. And villagers running by the right side base, the east base of Ben, finally notice a bevy of stables getting a defensive castle there. 3rd castle forward. I think that's an interesting choice because if I were Ben, I would focus on going for Lincoln's base, right? Break into Lincoln's base with army. He's got nothing there.
But he's being constantly forced to rebuild his economy here. Now that second trap is about to go down to those halberdiers. That's a good pickup from HMD. And we go again. Like, it's kind of crazy to see how the back and forth's happening here. I just don't know if Linkn can make production, and now that Ben's teching into gunpowder with the hand cannons, you need to make something to counter that, and I don't know if Halberdier and Cav is going to be the right combo for here. I would expect to have to see Skirmisher forced to come out here, and one key technology that the Franks are missing, they do not get Bracer. That's the big difference that the Burgundians are going to have over your Frank players.
And, I mean, there's plenty of gold on the map, but once the gold runs out, Franks do not have Hussar. And while Burgundians are missing Bloodlines, they do get the Hussar upgrade. I don't know how Ben is surviving down south. In fact, he's pushing down south. And we actually see...
I just saw that Bombard. He's got 5 or 6 months of support, as well as hand cannoneers to prevent any sort of Hal pushes there, and he is going to knock down those castles and break Linkedin's grip there. Scores are starting to get narrowed up a little bit more now with that change in development. But in comparison, Linkn did raid the left side of the map, or right side of the map. That base is gone. And there was a relic in that town, in that monastery, that should get picked off here.
Yeah, Ben had 5 relics for a while, which is pretty rare considering the fact that Linkn had map control for this whole time and didn't even consider going for the relics. I think he figured he could just get all of the resources as necessary, but you know, those relics, I'm going to take a look at the relic gold at this point for Ben.
Ben has all 5 relics right now. That's huge.
Like you've had 1,500 relic gold from Ben so far.
And that's only going to grow as long as he holds those. And the other thing that I realized too, HMD has been able to keep his pop above Linkn even with all this pressure and all this aggression. You got 140 pop versus 152. That tells you that either you have more economy or you have more army. And in this case, HMD has 118 villagers at this point in the game, whereas Linkn only has 98. That's about a 20 villager difference here. And the more villagers you have, the more army you can spam, and the more army you can spam, the more that you can win these fights. Oh, we see chemistry coming in here from the front. Oh, Linkn did not have wheelbarrow. Wow, that would explain a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you get the free tech upgrade for farming for the Franks, but you definitely don't get free wheelbarrow like the Vikings.
Right, like the Vikings. You need the wheelbarrow, you need handcart there, especially you need it earlier than 55 minutes in this game. You need it probably around minute 30 to be able to get the full benefit of those technologies. That's a huge issue. Chemistry coming in here right now for Linkn as well, so he should have his own bombard cannons out here soon, and he can stop relying on these trebs a little bit, but like, I just think Linkedin's thinking that Ben's got the rest of his army here, and look at that. Like, the score difference, it's narrowed to under 1,000 point difference now. Like, HMD is coming back into this game here.
What's the farm count, though, that is most efficient for getting wheelbarrow at? Because Linkn didn't have a lot of farm.
I want to say you want to get wheelbarrow around 45, 50 villagers or so, and then you want to get handcart around 60.
Which, I guess he has had 60 villagers for quite some time.
A long time. Like, you should not be getting wheelbarrow at minute 56 in the game. That's too late.
Yeah. I think when I looked at the tech tree, I got a little behind, so I'm going to have to fast forward here a little bit. But you feel free to let us know what's going on live.
No worries. We see more aggression here in the south. We've got paladins cleaning up the hand cannoneers, some monks coming in for some conversions here from Linkn. Army's getting cleaned up here, and we start to see on the left-hand side of the map, we see more hand cannoneers. Hussar coming in now from Ben, and they're going to be pushing on the left side of the map. Defensive castle coming up here for Linkn. That castle's probably going to get denied if there's not enough army there to defend that. There's too many hand cannoneers. That castle's only 50% completed, and Hussar coming in here now for that raiding. That castle is very likely to get denied here.
Now, I have to say, this is a really long game, considering the fact that it's 1v1.
That castle's gotten denied. It's not going up. Wow. Well, that's always starting to come back here, and Linkn is forced to delete the castle. Wow.
I think
castle's coming up behind the walls to defend the economy. Smart move.
You have to decide what you want to do when you're at Captain's Denied, because sometimes leaving the castle foundation up, if there's not a lot of siege, is actually a decision that can save you time, or earn you time, which was maybe the point of the castle to begin with. Deleting it, especially if it's well built already, you lose most of your stone.
And look at this, HMD is now taking the score lead, about a 100-point score lead here, because he's had the time to reboom, because he's got the 130 villager advantage to the 115 villagers. You're making the power units, and you're able to keep your population up to close to to max pop. That's the difference in the game right now, and you're now threatening to push inside the base and just end the game here. Wow, that gate is almost down on the right-hand side of Linkn's base. Once that gate goes down, those Hussar will go in and have free reign to raid as much as they want.
Now, it's important to note that neither of these players in our Discord are easy pickings in the sense that they will give up easily. So, I mean, this game could continue to go on as long as they are above 50 villagers.
Here comes the first Hussar raids into Linkn's base. Within range of the castle, I see 3-4 vill pick off here. And we're getting panic villagers here trying to rebuild that stone wall. That's not going to really work very well, and now we're going to start to see some idle economy time. And HMD now with a 1,000 score lead. Wow. That bombard is going to get picked off by the 2 Cavalier. There's not enough supporting units to defend it, so he will lose that. But we're going back and forth, back and forth. This is a great game. Stone wall coming in here, or fortified wall coming in here for Linkn. That's a key technology that you need to have in these late game situations to prevent eco raids. Unfortunately for Linkn, there's still a hole in his base on the bottom part of the map, or bottom part of his wall. That's not been walled up or plugged up yet, and that's going to still allow the Hussar to free range to roam in there and get some raiding in. Now,
look at how many villagers does Ben have idle?
Great question. We're looking at 40 idols for Linkn and 15 idols for HMD. Linkn actually has more idle villagers.
Yeah, so I like the efficiency of Ben, despite the fact that he's the one putting on the aggression. Sometimes people get tunnel vision and they ignore that factor, but, I mean, I think when Linkn put up that third TC near the wood line, he just forgot about half of the villagers that built it.
Yep. And now we see Ben pushing on all sides on these defensive frank castles in the middle of the map. We see one bomber attacking the southernmost castle, and we see one trebuchet attacking the easternmost castle, or the westernmost castle, I'm sorry. I'm getting my directions confused here. Castle on the left-hand side of the map. Now we got Cavalier here. That's going to stop the southern side. That's pushed on the southern part of the map. Both bombards are down there. That castle will live to see another day. However, the castle's on the most left-hand part of the map. It's got 2 trebuchets focusing down. It will go down here in one more shot.
Now, what do we think went wrong so far for Linkn? Because it's not looking good for him at this point. He started out well. I mean, shoestring budget to get those double castles down, but he had control of the map for a long time.
I think the main thing is as you said earlier, it's the relics. He only has 157 gold left in the bank. He's got 1 gold mine in front of his base, but that's not going to be really safe gold to take. That's within the area of getting raided by Hussar here. And he's got 1 gold mine that's still within his walls there that's got maybe 1,600 gold to 2k gold left in it, and once that gold's gone, he's going to be strapped for gold. Oh no, there's 2 gold mines there. I guess he still has his gold there in his base, but once that gold is gone, he's going to be hard strapped to be able to produce units. The biggest thing that he's struggling with here is production. We've got almost pop limit versus 160 pop. Like, Linkn for production here in military buildings, and I think that's the big thing that he needs to focus on here. He's only got the 4 stables in the middle of the map and the 2 barracks. That's not going to be enough to maintain production here versus how HMD is able to turn around and keep those units churning and keep the military production going and keep the aggression on. And now we see 2 trebs coming forward here on the left-hand side of the map, taking out that 1 defensive castle here in Linkn's economy. If that castle goes down, there's not going to be a lot of defense left for those Hussar raids. That castle should go down.
Look at the upgrades on Ben's units. So he's getting Paladin right now, but he also has only +1 armor, +1 attack.
Yep.
So
+1 armor, +1 attack. Yep.
Paladin. I think largely because he has prioritized getting out of his base and probably lost his blacksmith early.
Oh my god, the paladin upgrade got canceled. The stable making the paladin in his base that was destroyed. Paladin upgrade was canceled.
See, yeah,
wow.
that's kind of risky to make it back there. I guess you assume he's going to ignore your base, but I mean,
I would agree here, but you look at the economy difference, like HMD is floating 10k wood. Sell that wood, get more gold. That's the biggest thing you need, and get Burgundian vineyards, which is the gold generation from your farmers. Like, you need that gold income to keep making your power units like bombards, like cavalry, like hand cannoneers. And now LinkedIn has now taken a big 1k score lead here.
As much as we've been critical of Lincoln's tunnel vision down the middle, Ben has eco in 3 places, and that's a lot of split attention.
Yes.
And, I mean, once Paladin comes in, I don't think he's noticed that it's been canceled.
Yep, now it's coming in again, and now he's getting the chain barding armor. He's getting his armor upgrades for that Paladin as well. Oh, what a back and forth game here.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is housed right now. He's not he's housed. He needs to make more houses here to keep making military here, and I don't think he realizes that.
And what's interesting is Lincoln has access to lots of gold. Gold in front of his base, maybe a little bit risky, but the gold in Ben's base, there's still 4 completely unmined piles of gold there. And he's got no gold, almost no gold in his own base. He really needs to start prioritizing locking down the gold and making gold units. I think if Lincoln gets Paladin upgrade himself, combined with some of those bombard cannons, he can clear up the south, he can clear up the left, to right.
And like I said, HMD is finally selling that wood. He had 10k wood backed up. He sold about half of it for gold. And now we'll start to see that gold get used for more military units here. We see Paladin kind of coming in now here. He's got Paladin cranking from 4 or 5 multiple stables. He's got 12 that are right now produced. He's got another 4 that are coming out. And we'll start to see that transition there into Paladin. And like Paladin and economy right here, a couple of petards in, and that could be game over.
Yep.
Yep, and as I say that, I see a petard being created as well.
What's going on with the wall in the middle of the map here? I think... Is Lincoln trying to cut Ben off from himself? Like,
I think so. He's trying to cut Ben off from the gold that's in front of his base, and trying to keep that for himself. Thinking that if he can just get rid of the remaining villagers that are there in that corner, then we'll have no way to gather gold, and then he can turn around and get those resources for himself.
Problem is, he's left Ben on the right side as well, and so he can keep reinforcing for as long as he wants with halberdiers. There's just plenty of wood on the map, plenty of farming space. He can
those halberdiers should be max armor here soon. He's getting squires here. He just needs his attack upgrades, and those will be nearly fully upgraded Paladin versus Lincoln's Cavalier. The Cavalier versus Paladin here. The Paladin are going to have 2 extra attack, and they're going to have a little bit of extra melee armor here. No, same melee armor. A little bit extra hit points too. They'll have 20 extra hit points and 2 extra attack, which means straight up they will be better in a 1v1 fight with that bonus. The Frank Paladin player normally likes to go Paladins here, but Paladins are a very expensive upgrade. Like, LinkedIn has enough for it, but with the gold being limited the way that he is, he's better off saving that gold for actual units itself.
Yep.
And wow.
And Ben's still with only +1 attack. His Paladin could be doing a lot better.
He's getting his upgrades. He's got his full armor there. He's now
prioritizing
Paladin now coming in here for LinkedIn. LinkedIn canceled Paladin upgrade. It was there for a second. Now he's making more Cavalier.
It feels like it's ringing around the rosy here. Lincoln clears up space down south, then he moves to the right, clears up some buildings, then moves back to the left, but never finishes off any one of those places. And as long as Ben has the ability to focus on all that, he just gets growing and growing and growing his eco.
Big fight here coming on the left-hand side of the map. We've got the Paladin. That should be enough to soak up those Thorny Axemen and Halberdier with the Paladin and hand cannoneer combo. Forward Trebuchet coming forward again to destroy that gate. And are we going to see a raid into the economy here? LinkedIn has enough for a defensive castle. Defensive castle coming up now over that gate to help better defend that economy here. And he just needs to wall off to the side to follow up towards the castle to really lock that push down.
Now, what's interesting is Lincoln has a score lead, but I feel like that's mainly due to the fact that he has destroyed more buildings. I think he's had weaker eco most of the game, and even perhaps less military if we count the trash units that Ben has been throwing at the armies of Lincoln.
I like how you said weaker economy, because they both have the same number of villagers at this point in time.
Yeah, but
the big difference is the relics, as you said. Ben can afford to throw away gold units, Lincoln cannot.
Well, and Lincoln has had very few eco upgrades most of the game, whereas Ben, as Burgundians, probably got them long before he did.
Lincoln is transitioning into champions. I repeat, he is making supplies and getting squires now.
What do you think of the bomber cannon in the south hitting that one castle? He's got some armor there.
It's just annoyance. That's the main thing. You got an annoyance that's there. He's trying to send villagers there forward to take out the bombards, but it's well defended with 6 hand cannoneers and pikes.
He trapped them. Lincoln thought, oh, it's just a single lonely bombard cannon. And he takes out all of the villagers right there. That's 10 villagers down the drain. Now, he did take out the Treb on the left, so it slowed down. We saw the button. The button has been clicked. Ben with 180 military right now. Zombies running.
Because he hit revolution! Oh no!
Villagers running towards the base, and it is pandemonium. Villagers running out of the base, army hammering at the gates. This could be genius, or it could be a disaster, because...
Oh, now you gotta go in and do the damage.
Look on the right. He opened the gate.
I saw that.
He opened the gate, and they're in, and there's only one castle. Now, these units have been nerfed heavily over the years because they're just so strong, but I think that's enough infantry if he has arson to take out a TC. And Lincoln doesn't have production buildings inside his base, not to mention he's dealing with the zombies in the left, heading towards his main castle.
I'm just that he pressed it.
I
down to 113 pop, 112 pop versus 157. Wow.
It was actually an accidental thing. If you go up in the chat, Ben says, wrong button, haha.
Yeah, wrong button indeed. It's going to cost you your entire economy. Wow. Not good, Bob. Not good.
He's already back up to 17 villagers, but it's going to take at least 5 more minutes for him to get back to the pre-zombie eco level. Meanwhile, down south,
he does destroy that first castle. The second castle is down. There's only one castle left there.
That bomber cannon down south. That bomber cannon down south took out that castle.
And because of all the Flemish militia, that third castle is going to go down. So you're trading your economy for more map control here. It may work out here.
Yep, Ben with 4 TTCs, he can actually boom back fairly quickly. He does need food, but he's got 15 on food already, so that's enough to maintain 2 TC production. That last castle is gonna go down, I think.
It is.
And then
that'll end the forward that's there. Wow. And then you still got 50 military versus 25. The military advantage is in Ben's favor, so he needs to go in and keep doing the damage and keep applying the pressure here. He did a great job knocking down the forward castles here, and now we see those Flemish militia leaking into the town center that LinkedIn has put there on the side. We are even on score again. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, this game went back and forth. The score has switched multiple times, and it looks like, I think the big problem is Lincoln has almost no access to gold at this point, because without those castles down south, he lost those 4 tiles of gold that he had for a little while. He's also losing the TC on the left with the bomber cannon and the zombies.
TC on the left is down now, and now we see
lose a lot of villagers there too.
Yep.
So Lincoln with only 80 villagers at this point. Sure, Ben is.
But it's 107 pop versus 85 pop. You got 50 army, 35 villagers. It's going to take Ben HMD a bit of time here. Now he's finally getting his attack upgrades for his Flemish militia. They're +2/+2 right now, getting +4 attack right now.
Lincoln going for a tower over on the right to protect the stone because he wants stone to get another castle. We know Franks with their cheap castles, they can hold on for quite a while, but I don't think castles is the key here because he's already got bomber cannons, he's already got access to gold now. Ben has probably some trebuchets going to be being produced now too. Ben is backed up to 35 villagers already.
The biggest thing that Flemish Revolution did, it took out those forward castles that had been there all game in front of his original base. And now that area's opened up, and Linkn does not have any exterior presence outside of his own base, and now Linkn is going to call the GG here. Wow.
Well, I mean, he's down to 75 bills. There's not really
and he's cornered into one part of the map. That was the biggest thing.
Well, let's see if he actually calls it. We've had another series in this tournament where somebody called GG and then realized they probably could still win the game. So we'll see if he plays on at all. Like we said before, neither of these players are pillows. Ben giving him the GG back says, "Guess it was the right button."
I think it was. Wow. Yes, it does get him. Too strong. He's a nerf.
So what's interesting to see is Linkn is making skirmishers now. Skirmishers, I guess they counter hand cannon?
He can only make trash here. He's out of gold in his base. He's got no access to gold. The relics are over with HMD. Like, he can't make gold units anymore, and gold units technically tend to do better than trash units here. Linked's army is full trash at this point in time. He does not have any gold left versus hand cannons, versus paladin, versus Flemish militia. That army's gonna lose every time.
I wonder if he's forgotten about the gold in the front of his base on the left. I know it's risky, but I mean, what do you have to lose at this point? It's 4
You just can't secure it. That's the problem.
Yeah, but
Ben firmly has map control. It's 48 military versus 16.
Yep, Ben's back up to almost 60 villagers. I mean, if he was going to win the game...
Ben did lose a relic on the right-hand side of the map. He's down to 4 relics here, but the other relic monastery is well defended.
More importantly, he regained gold control down in the south, so...
Yep, and now we see a trap here on that castle on Linked's base.
I'll take 5 villagers on gold over 1 relic any day.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and there we go.
So, after that GG, he's still playing on. Treb over on the left, taking out the castle. I think once Linkn notices, yep, first Treb hit and the castle, and he resigns.
Yep.
Wow.
What a game. I think this was the longest game so far in the tournament at an hour 28 game time in. It was really well done, and I think the big difference there, as you said, was the Flemish Revolution clicking in here. That allowed HMD the power spike he needed to take out those 3 or 4 castles that were lingering in front of his base and deny Linked's exterior out on arena and starve him out of gold and put him in a position where he can only make trash versus an army composition that's designed to kill trash.
Yeah, I mean,
that was the game-winning move here.
The fact that that Ben already had his infantry upgrades for the Halbs really helped a lot, because otherwise those units probably would have died under those castles. But as it is, they took them out, and that was the game-winning move. It seems like it was an accident. Maybe we can get some input from some of the players themselves. I don't know that we have both of them here right now. But I think we do have Ben. I don't know if he can give us insight as to whether or not that was actually an accident or he was just joking when he said that.
Well, the way that you played it in game, I would have thought it was an accident. But go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, I am here. That was a complete accident. I meant to click the vineyards tech and did not. For context, this was I think it was close to 1 a.m. When this game was being played for our time, so we were both a little out of it. But that ended up being the right call.
Well, and what's interesting, you say it was 1 a.m. This was supposed to be the first of a best of 3. I understand as it is that you guys were not able to finish out your series, and so Linkn was willing to say, I lost the first game, I'm willing to concede the series. But man, this would have been an amazing series if you guys had been able to finish it out.
Well, this one was long enough for a couple games.
That's true. This is longer than some whole sets we've had from other competitors in this tournament. Well, congratulations, Ben. Seems like you will move on to the next round, and that means you are playing Matt, Bearded Korean, in round 2. Do we know when that game's going to happen? Has it been scheduled yet?
That will be sometime Friday, the 24th, from when this video is posted.
Okay. Well, let's just look a moment at the statistics, and then we will let you all go here. Katie, not too bad. Slightly in favor of Ben, 622 to 531. Losses, 531 to 658 for Lincoln. Largest army, 194 for Ben. That's no surprise when you click Flemish Militia. But that's a good timing, honestly, because it basically means you clicked with as many villagers as you could get while having military. I think that helped a lot. Middle of the if we look at the statistics, it's always fun to see when Flemish Militia is clicked, that massive spike of military population, piercing right through the middle of the statistics page. And eco is actually fairly even on many counts because Lincoln had more food income most of the game and significantly more stone income, but wood and gold were the key here for Ben to take the game. Well, any last thoughts, Ben, Mobius?
None that come to mind. That was a great game.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
I had a lot of fun with it, so thanks to Link for playing, and yeah, look forward to the next.
Awesome. Well, tune in for round 2. Some of those games have already been played, I believe, so you may be seeing them presently.
Seeing them shortly. You'll see them soon.
Yep. Oh.
Great set. Thank you, everyone, and this is Mobius signing off.